Hey everybody, it's Robin Robbins, founder of TMT, Technology Marketing Toolkit.com, also the founder of MSP Success Magazine, editor-in-chief, and welcome to the inaugural podcast that we're doing for MSP Success Magazine, which is Great Minds Drink Alike. And I was thinking to myself, how do I combine the things that I love, two things that I love, which is learning and drinking. And so that's what we're going to be doing on this special podcast. I've also got Mike Stodola with me. Mike is my chief marketing officer and all-around badass. So he's the guy when you see campaigns and promotions and the websites and all the stuff we're doing. That is actually Mike, even though if it's good, I take credit for it. So say hi to everybody there.
Hey, how's everyone doing today?
So we are live today, and this is going to be a really interesting podcast because, like I said, this is the first one that we're doing. We're going to create a series of these moving forward, and we're not selling anything here. This is not for us to try and sell you in a membership or try and sell you a toolkit or try and sell you whatever. What we're doing here today is I wanted to kind of really memorialize this year. For me personally, it has been a phenomenal year for me personally, professionally, in so many ways. And I think a lot of our clients have had just stellar years, coming off of 2020, obviously, which was just horrible in so many ways. And I think this year still had a pretty bad hangover of COVID hangover, no pun intended, or I guess pun intended. And so we wanted to do something at the end of the year to kind of lift everybody up, to have a toast and remember what's great and bring you some amazing people. So we're going into this next year prepared, primed, ready to go, ready to have your best year ever, to really put this COVID stuff behind us, hopefully once and for all, and get back to business and make everything, I don't want to say normal again, but better than normal. We've been disrupted and so some good things have come out of that. And the other thing we're doing is raising money for St. Jude. And if you guys didn't know this or not, but I had a personal mission that I set roughly about 10 years ago, 10 years ago, that I was going to raise $1 million for St. Jude Children's Hospital. And it was earlier this year that we actually hit that goal. So that was like one huge thing for me this year, was hitting that $1 million milestone somewhere on this, wherever you're watching this. I know some of you are watching it on the webpage. Some of you are watching it on YouTube. We got people that are broadcasting, we're on Facebook. So there's a lot of different ways you can join us on this, but you'll see there's a link to St. Jude right below the video here. And you can click on it and you can see how much money we raised. We actually raised, it's over 1.2 million. Fred Vicola, who is the CEO of Kaseya, recently made a very generous personal donation to St. Jude when we were down in Miami with Marcus Lemonis. And so that hasn't even been counted in there yet. So we are at like over 1.2. And so we're going to just keep raising money for St. Jude. So the only thing we're really going to hustle you for is maybe if you get a lot of value today, if you hear something that's worthwhile, you could donate a little money. If, we're going to have Kevin O'Leary talk to you guys, people like Chris Voss, Mike McAllowitz, James Lawrence, a lot of my members, a lot of people who are clients of mine know these people. These are people that have spoken to you at events, and they're going to give you some advice going into this new year. And if you get a piece of advice or you hear something that inspires you or something that kind of lights you up, I'm hoping that it'll inspire you to just give a little money to St. Jude. I mean, we're at the year end, and I really do think and believe in the concept of tithing. And I don't mean that in a religious way. It's not, I know it's like, I guess, mostly a Christian concept. Mike, do you know about that? Is that like just purely a Christian? I know you're Muslim or something, aren't you? I'm not sure what.
I guess I don't know if it's purely Christian, but I do know it's a Christian concept. So yeah, that's what my other Muslim friends tell me.
Yeah, let's drink and talk religion and politics.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so I do think, when you've had a good year, and if you have had a good year, look, if you weren't homeless, if you had food to eat, if you were safe and protected, you had a pretty damn good year. Okay. So, for me, I mean, personal wins for me, I'm actually broadcasting from my beach house, which I bought earlier this year. That was a a long-term goal of mine to have a beach house that we'd own, not just rent, but actually could own, leave all our stuff here, come down when we want. So that goal happened. We hit the $1 million mark for St. Jude this year. St. Jude was very generous. They actually named me Advocate of the Year, which is an incredible honor. Our business is thriving. I mean, we're up. Mike, I was just asking, I think I said, I think in the company meeting, we were like 32%, but I looked at the numbers. And it's 38% sales are up. So the business, my business is just taken off. I was given an honorary bachelor's degree at High Point University, which again was a huge accomplishment. And I officially hit my enough is enough number. That doesn't mean I'm quitting, so don't freak out. I always made a joke that was my drop the mic number, that once I had that amount of money, man, I don't care if I'm in the middle of a stage, I'm just like unclipping the microphone, dropping the mic, walking off the minute I know that. But, you know, and that was like early on, you kind of have those fantasies, I guess, you know, when you hit your enough is enough number and, you know, you technically don't have to work again, but obviously work it should give you a lot of fulfillment and meaning. And it does for me and my organization. So we're going to keep cranking. Like I said, sales are up and we're blowing it away. So, Mike, you want to add, did you have a good year or are you kind of sucking wind? I don't know. I haven't asked you that.
No, I should ask you that. No, it was absolutely fantastic year. I mean, it was good to get back to normal. I mean, a year ago with the pandemic, that was kind of crazy. And if there are those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, we got to talk later because it was crazy, the whole pandemic thing. But you missed a lot. But no, I mean, just getting back to normal, getting to see all of our members. I mean, I got engaged, so that's a big one.
That's right. Yeah, congratulations on that.
Yeah,
she said yes.
Yeah, I know. Third time's a charm. So we'll see. So that was a big thing. Looking at houses now. So no, just a great year all around.
Perfect. So, well, one of the things we got to do in this podcast, one of the things I want to do is have a drink with all of you. I mean, that's kind of the whole theme is great minds drink alike. So I wanted to kick off with our first pour. Now you can kind of see behind me here. I've got a rather, a small.
Yeah, you're both fine.
I mean, I don't have a big selection but I do have my Methuselah. I think it's called a Methuselah is of The Prisoner, which this thing is like massive. But what I thought I would start out with is my Silver Oak. I don't know, Mike, what are you drinking there?
Right now I've got a little La Crema. I don't know if it shows up.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
look, you've already started. You gotta is that empty?
Don't worry about it. So
okay.
Yeah.
It's like he was already on for an hour ahead. So I don't know. Is there a way that people can chat? I didn't even think. I guess it depends on the platform they're watching it on, right? Like if they're on Facebook Live or something. Like
yeah, we've got that. And if you guys are watching on the podcast page, mspsuccesspodcast.com/great minds, there is a chat. You just need to log into Facebook to like be eligible to be on chat. But let us know what you're drinking on there, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, any of those. I'll check some of them out here.
Yeah, Mike, you need to send me that link because I'm sitting here going, I didn't bring that page up. Oops.
Okay.
Yeah, because I want to know. So I want to, well, that's what I'm going to, so I'm going to start off with the Silver Oak. It's a 2016 cab. And this is like one of my current favorites. I kind of tend to move around a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I go from The Prisoner. And as you can see, I try to put a huge dent in that. And I did. And then I'll move on to something else. Like I like my Belle Gloss or my Camus special selection. So I'm going to start out with this. Being the drunk that I am, you can hear that nice pour. All right, there you go. Now, see, I'm also not one of those people where, turn that around there. You know how some people are wine snobs and they do the swirl and they do the sniff and I do that stuff just so, because when you go to a restaurant, the waiter stands there looking at you like you're supposed to know something. They present the bottle. And I know they got to do all that. And so I like to pretend like I know what the hell I'm doing. So, you got to do the little swirl. You're supposed to be looking at the legs, Mike. What is it that you're looking for? Yeah,
the legs and the color and all that great stuff.
Yeah.
I like how you do it better where you just put it in your mouth and you swish it between your teeth. So I think that's the new way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And blow it out your nose or something. All right. Well, cheers. Here's,
Cheers.
do you, yeah. Okay. So we'll cheers.
Okay.
Mm, that is good. And like I was telling Mike, I have not had anything to eat. So how long are we on? 3 hours?
Yeah, just 3 hours. So this will get fun quick.
It will. Okay. Yeah, so this will have fun. So yeah, so post what you're drinking below. Let us know like what your favorite beverage is. I mean, it doesn't have to be alcoholic. I mean, just because I'm a lush doesn't mean everybody else is. I have, I'm not perfect. But I would like to know sort of also if you'll post, where what kind of year have you had, right? Mike, send me that link so I can get that link up, so I can
got them in chat there. I don't know if that's easiest or.
Yeah. Okay. So very cool. So I can go to the technology marketing toolkit type page there. All right. Because I want to look at these as we're going and see kind of what you guys are saying, what you're thinking. Do you like what we're talking about? I know we've got, there's Jason.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Jason. Jason's drinking coffee. What are you doing? Penny's drinking water. We are like lushes.
Yeah.
Look at this. Like we got our clients and they're saying,
I know.
they're like water. I don't know, all kinds of.
Yeah, we got a second water, so water's big right now. But maybe
Water
they're just hydrating for tonight, Robin. They got a big night planned.
Wait a minute, it is New Year's Eve, right?
Yeah.
Is that right? I mean,
Correct.
like I didn't get the date wrong. Okay.
All day.
Okay. It's the last day of the year. So we want to kind of, okay. Well, Jason, thank you for drinking some vodka, some Tito's, right? I mean, seriously, I'm starting to feel like a lush. Mike and I think Mike has water in his wine bottle. That's why it looked clear and empty. I was like, okay, what is going on? I'm going to be the only one that is not sober, but, no, but also, see, poor man's Bloody Mary vodka with V8 and sriracha. Okay. All right. Drinking coffee. It's 9:00. Nicole, like, come on, you can drink in the morning, have a mimosa. All right. Be creative. But also I'd love for you guys to post, kind of what was your win for this year? What is something that happened? Looking back, I know with all the craziness that when you're running a business or, if you're an executive, you're raising a family, you're running your business, you're trying to stay in shape, you're trying to get all these things done. And sometimes we forget how good we have it or how great it's been. Sometimes you do have to turn around and look back. That's like a Dan Sullivan concept. You call it, the gap. Whereas wherever you're standing right now, you're always looking to the horizon, the unmet goals, the things that you want to achieve, the things that are not right. I mean, that's the achiever mindset. And people who, like me, we drive ourselves nuts with it because we never, ever, I shouldn't say never, ever, but we have to remind ourselves to look back and go, look how far you've come. Look what you have achieved. And because you're always looking at what could be better, what could be more perfect, what you're still failing at, and even though I had the best year ever, I mean, I didn't hit every goal. Shit. I'm like 15 pounds heavier. I gained weight. I shouldn't have gained that I had lost. And then I gained it back. And, so I think you're always doing that, but I would also kind of like to know, from you guys, if you're posting, my dog is saying one client RMM 6 months increased 250%. See, there you go. Yeah. You got that, Bob that hired a telemarketer to make follow-up calls. That's great. That's a great step in the right direction. So you got to make sure you look back and say, what happened this year and somehow memorialize it. That's what this podcast, for me was like, what can we do to, sort of say 2020 was so hard, and coming into 2021, we were uncertain, but things really turned around well. And we just don't want to screw it up at this point. Right.
Robin, we got people coming in hot. If you go to the other page, mspsuccesspodcast.com, that /great minds one, we got Steve. He says, greetings from Bourbon County. We got Patrick drinking a double IPA. So the strong stuff. Okay. Someone's driving right now and listening, so they're not drinking yet. We got coffee. We got scotch. We got McKellen's 12 after 12. Dave Hodger. So we got a bunch in there. So that's where our drinkers are hanging out at. They're not on the Facebook page. They're on the main
There-
podcast page.
All right. Well,
So,
you watch that. I'll watch
Yep.
this, and between the two of
Perfect.
us, I know there's like a couple. We have it broadcasting. It's on it's on YouTube too. So anyway, here's what I want to do. I want to bring up our first speaker. His name's James Lawrence. Now, if you were a Producers Club member, you know James Lawrence, right? Because he is the Iron Cowboy. And, you know, Ryan Markell, who runs our mastermind division, was the one who recommended we have James. I was like, you know, I don't know. I mean, he's amazing. So he ran the 50, which is like 50 Ironman triathlons in 50 consecutive days in 50 different states. And that is a superhuman feat, right? And I was like, well, you know, but I don't know. Is he a good speaker? You know, he's just like, can he talk business? And I got to tell you, I was blown away. He, don't tell Jocko Willink. I'm saying this. See, I'm already a little tipsy. But Jocko and James in the same conference, and James had a greater impact on our audience than anybody else. And it was so impactful, his presentation. We actually brought him back. And at the time when he spoke, it was the last speaking engagement before he did the 100, which was 100 consecutive Ironmans in 100 days, like unbelievable. And we had him come back and speak. So if you would, Jason Austin, who's in the background, let's bring up Mr. James Lawrence. Is he there?
He's here.
Dude.
Robin!
What's up?
I love you. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, holiday, Hanukkah, whatever, man. I just love you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, that's great. See, there goes my dog. I told my husband, I said, I'm going to kill you if this barks. And yeah, dog's barking. James, I love you too, dude. I mean, you're such a unique person, and, you know, Sunny as well. You just good people. You know, when you spoke to people, I mean, it really was from the heart. It really was from the standpoint of, you know, I mean, just like, it was just real and authentic, and you accomplished something that I think most people can't even imagine, just putting themselves through that physical endurance. You know, and so I think, you know, we only have a couple minutes. We got a lot of speakers and whatnot, but you know, just there's a lot of people who don't know you, but real quick, just tell your story, like 30 seconds of what you did and what drove you to do this.
Oh man, okay, the quick Cliff Notes version. So my very humble beginning, got destroyed by a simple 4-mile fun run. Fast forward a decade, we're tackling the most insane challenge of 100 consecutive full distance Ironman triathlons. And for those of you that don't know, a full Ironman is a 2.4 mile swim, a 112 mile bike, followed by a full marathon run, 26.2 miles. So 100 consecutive days, that's a quarter of a year, no days off, a total of 14,000 miles. And when I graced your stage right after the 100, I don't even remember it because I had such trauma, such brain fog. I went through cognitive therapy. And we recently found out that in that bike crash that I talked about on stage on day 59, I actually broke my back. And so we did the last 41 consecutive 140-mile days with that broken back. And so just so much has happened even since I've spent time with you. It's just been an absolutely wild year.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, you know, it's like, because this time of year, everybody's trying to get in shape and, you know, trying to lose a little weight and everything. And, you know, when you go to the gym, I mean, I think for me, but for a lot of people, I mean, you just worked all day, or you're tired from the night before, depending on, like, I'm an evening workout person. I know some people wake up early, but, you know, that alarm clock goes off and you're laying there and you're exhausted and you're hurting or aching. But you, like what you did, you took it to another level, dude. I mean, you know, I think of that. I think of you every time. I'm like, oh my God, my knee hurts, my back hurts. I'm like, shut up. You know what I mean? I just think of you, and it's like, it puts it in perspective. So what would be one thing you could tell people about pushing their limits, not just physically, but mentally? Because what you did was every bit, maybe more, a mental game than it was a physical game, right? What's one thing you could share with people going into this new year about pushing limits?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think your physical on something like this, your physicality needs to match your mental strength, and they need to be on par with each other in order to achieve really, really high levels. But my advice for anybody that are like wanting to push limits and take things to another level, I think one of the biggest things I've learned by traveling and speaking and having many conversations with every level of person is that we're hardest on ourselves. And I challenge everybody to flip that switch or lens on the way that you see yourself, and maybe see yourselves the way that people that admire you see you, and be okay with where you are at. Nobody starts out the expert, and it's okay to be where you are as long as you keep showing up consistently. And I know that's super cliche, like show up, be consistent. But I think I want people to just realize that it's okay where you are at today. Stop comparing yourself against your future best self, and just keep moving towards that individual.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, so when you were doing the 50 and definitely on the 100, right? There have to have been times when you just wanted to quit. Like your mind's going, why am I doing this? I could be doing harm to myself, irreparable harm to myself. Like, this is crazy. I mean, how did you get yourself to get up and do another one and another one and another one?
Yeah, it's interesting. Many months after the 100 had concluded, I got an email, and it was titled, "You Changed My Life." And in the body of the message, it was a female that had never heard of our story, and a friend invited her to day 100, which was our final day, and just to do some running with us and participate in that. And then she went home and from that experience made some changes in her life and completely changed the trajectory of what she was doing. And the reason I share that story is because your question was, what keeps you going when it's hard? And for me, it's, we never truly know who's watching, and we never truly know the impact that we're having on them. And so when I woke up broken on day 80, having no clue how to do 20 more of these, like totally broken, totally exhausted, the thought comes.
Let me just add, was that the one that was the hardest to get going again on 80, or which? Or
yeah, 80 was kind of that one where I was like broken. It was the first time I pulled my phone out and did kind of an update to social media, and I literally said the words, "Today I'm just going to try," because that's literally all I could do in that moment. And when you're in that moment, you have to think, if I quit today, who am I missing an opportunity to impact and influence? Because many people watching this, and we're leaders and influencers, and you truly don't know who's watching. And so had I quit on day 80, I would have never had the opportunity to show up on day 100, where that woman came out and had a life-changing experience. And so you always have to think, if I don't show up today, who am I not setting the example for? Who am I not giving an opportunity to come along with me on my journey? And so that's really the mantra that I keep going with. Like, if I don't show up today, who am I missing an opportunity to influence and impact in a positive way?
Right. I mean, what you're basically saying is having a bigger purpose, something that is beyond yourself. Because I think if you don't have a mission beyond yourself, people get bitter and resentful. I think, a lot of people's unhappiness, to quote Thoreau, is, most men live lives of quiet desperation. And I think a lot of that comes from not really living up to our own expectations for ourselves. Everybody wants to say, oh, society puts these impossible body images, or this, you got to make a lot of money, or, and I think there is some of that, but I think really what they really are struggling with is their internal conscience that is talking to them, and they know they could push themselves. Because I remember one thing you said is, and maybe you could touch on this a little bit, is you can always push yourself one more rep, right? It's like, I think a lot of us quit well before we reach our limit. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, in terms of racing and what I do, your body is always communicating with you. And the best example that I can use is when you're running or biking and you're exceeding your prepared level, and executing at a level higher than you've prepared to do, what your body does is it cramps. And it's an early neurological signal for you to slow down. Well, your brain can trip that signal. And if you know some of the tricks of the trade, you can trip that signal, that cramp will dissipate and you can continue on. And so the Navy SEALs always say, look, you've got 40% more is when you believe you've reached your limit. And that is the reason why we had the celebration. We accomplished the goal. We did something that nobody else has ever done. And I made a decision to get up on day 101 when I didn't have to, and jump in the pool and swim 2.4 more miles, bike 112 more, and run another full marathon to make it a total of 101, to just show my kids, look, when you're broken, when you're possibly defeated, you can get up and do one more. And sometimes you're going to have to get up and do one more on your own by yourself. And as long as you just believe that it's just one more, eventually miracles will happen and put in place, and you'll have crested the mountaintop.
Yeah. So what are you doing these days? Are you, I know you're still speaking. I know you took a break for a while from everything just to kind of rehabilitate yourself, but what are you doing these days?
Yeah, the biggest thing that I need to do is, like you said, take that break, reset my mind, reset my body. I went through unbelievable brain cognitive therapy. But January gets absolutely nuts for me. I'm a little bit terrified. I legit have 19 speaking events in January alone.
Nice.
We are launching a new fitness app that is going to be for the person who just wants to get up off the couch, maybe doesn't want to do triathlon. And then we're launching a brand new triathlon challenge, some group coaching. So tons of fun stuff going on. We just wrapped up our first mental training class to help people get, control of their mind, the thought processes. We're editing the second documentary. I'm writing the second book. We just signed a contract to do a feature film on our journey. Robin, it's been wild. It's been crazy. I wake up every single day terrified and super, super excited.
Cool. I just wrote that down. I'm writing my notes here a little bit because the mental training class sounds like something like I would love to know about. I mean that sincerely, personally, and I know our members too, because I think some of them even went and did some of the races with you. I think in the 100, they went out and they were supporting you there. So if somebody wants to get more information about you or the mental training or the app or whatever, where do they go?
Yeah, the two best places is going to be our website, just ironcowboy.com. And then we do all of our posts and launches and everything on Instagram and Facebook, also at Iron Cowboy James. Okay,
cool. Yeah. Got it. All right. Very cool. Well, James, thank you. You're an amazing individual. Are you drinking it? You don't drink, right?
Good memory. I do not drink. I've never had alcohol, but I have right here. It's non-alcoholic. Okay. But it's a new company called Well-Being, and they're promoting it kind of as like a recovery drink with good carbs and whatnot. It is a non-alcoholic beer. I'm terrified because I've heard beer tastes like garbage. So I don't know. I might save that for tonight. But if we want to cheers, we can always do a traditional one of these.
Try not to make a face. Like if you're getting an endorsement when you drink it, you got to be like, this is good. Like, if you're getting an endorsement and then you can spit it out after you're off camera.
Well, the problem was they said, hey, we want an honest opinion. And so I'm like, okay, well, here we go. I don't know if you really want it, but I'll give it to you.
Okay, well, here we go. Cheers.
Cheers.
I can tell you this tastes good.
What is that?
This is my Silver Oak. I got my whole wine selection back here.
Okay.
I can actually work out a little bit tipsy. I don't feel as much pain. I suck the next day, but
you are Wonder Woman. I put nothing past you, Robin. Nothing.
I don't know. I have limits. All right. Well, very cool. Thank you, James. I appreciate you so much.
Absolutely. Happy New Year's to everybody, and just keep showing up.
All right. Thank you. All right, Mike, what do you think of that? I mean, are you?
Yeah, no, James is just incredible. We had Justin Bragg mention in chat that he ran his first marathon this year because of being inspired by James. I know, like you said, we had a bunch of members who joined him in some of the runs, or at least several members, and a lot of others that were inspired to do so on here. So it's a big guy for our group, and I think you're absolutely right. There's probably a bunch of people who want to get in that mental toughness challenge.
Yeah, I mean, that is really everything. I mean, in business is a mental game. Fitness is a mental game. Getting yourself to do things. I mean, that's all a mental game. And when you see someone like James, who, I mean, think about just doing one triathlon. I mean, there's a lot of people watching. I would die doing one triathlon. I mean, to do 50 or 100 consecutive, I can't even imagine. I mean, and the story, like, you guys, if you're really interested, you should like look into more of that story. I mean, he did it when his body was like completely broken and got up and did it again and again, which is just amazing.